Okay, let's continue on. What I did in between the first video and this one was cleaned up this blocker right here. In the first video, I just quickly built three blockers to block out these two buildings, but they were sloppy and there was no reason to have three of them. So what I did was just came back in here and rebuilt it and made it a little bit neater and made it a little bit, nicer. And like here, just click these points. You can drag these lines around, make things nice and straight and neat. That's what I did here. So we'll zoom to fit. And okay. So what we want to do now is we want to save these 300 frames so that we can go into After Effects or Studio Max and continue working on this piece. So what you want to do is click on this button right here where it says Save Output. Okay. So we're going to zoom that to 100%, and then we're going to navigate to a directory, and you can see I've already rendered this out. Give it a file name, save it as a JPEG, and then it'll come up with a box that will ask you if you want to continue from frame 1 to 300. Say yes to that, and then click it. It'll save that out for you. Once you have that sequence, we can go into 3D Studio Max, and I'll show you what I did here. Go up to your views. Now, if you're not using Studio Max, you're using Lightwave or some other 3D program, I'm sure you can follow along with this. But if you don't have Studio Max, get it. It's really cool. Okay, so let's go to views. We're going to go to viewport background right here. And in this perspective view, so you'll see here, the viewport is camera. It's in the viewport. And we're going to click on File. And then we're going to click on this Baghdad test right here, and we're going to say match bitmap, okay, and then we're going to show that background, okay. And so what I wanted to do was I took a 3D helicopter that I had and just flew it into the scene like so, bringing it closer to the building so it could be inspecting the building, set it up as 300 frame animation. If you'll notice here on the rotors, if you right click on the rotor, let's go up here, let's right click on the rotor, go to the object properties, and you'll see I have motion blur by object selected for the front rotor and the back rotor. Okay, we have object. And then if you go up here to your rendering tab, go to render setup, click on the renderer, go down here, and you'll see object motion blur, apply. I have it set to 0.75, duration of frames 0.75, samples of 10. You can play around with these to get better results if you want, but I'm just kind of quickly doing this. I think when you initially open this, image motion blur is on. Make sure that's off, okay? And then go up to your render setup. And again, when you're setting up your animation of your helicopter, I just set up a camera here. If you notice here in the first frame, the point where the camera's pointing is right here. And then when I just moved the helicopter and moved it into the scene and start frame, end frame where I wanted it to end, and then did a rotation on the blades and the front blades and the back blades, and got that set up the way I wanted it. And then you go up here to render setup, and you want to say active time segment, and make sure that the render size is set to the same size as the picture, which is 1024 by 768. You'll see that right here. And then go down here, save file, and then save those out as PNGs, okay? And then before you render, go back up to view, go to viewport background, and turn show background off, okay? And then you'll have this, and let's see, let's just move to a frame where that rotor is going to be seen, and I'll show you what that's going to look like. We'll go to one image, we'll turn off save file, and we're going to render this. I just want to show you the motion blur. Okay, there's the motion blur right there, and you can see it if you turn on your matte. Okay, you can see that motion blur. Obviously that needs a lot more work, but just going to do it quick for this. And then after you're done with that, then go ahead and hit save file, make sure you're on range, active time segment, and then hit render. And after you have all those frames rendered, so you have your frames for the smoke rendered out of particle illusion, you're going to have your frames for your helicopter rendered here out of max, and then the next thing we're going to do in the next video will be to go into After Effects, if you don't have After Effects, again, get it, you'll need it. But we're going to go into After Effects, and if you don't have that, use Apple Motion or whatever you're using to do compositing, and we're going to put this together and create a little bit more finished product. And then we're going to continue on by adding, I guess, maybe one or two more helicopters, maybe some more explosions. I don't know, we'll see. Hang in there and stay with me, and we'll be right back.